everybody, and welcome back to the Wellness Lounge. Today I am joined by Mike, John and Sinead Casserlys of West2Wellness. I'm so delighted that all three of you are joining us for this chat today. So before we jump into talking a little bit about yourselves, your journey into wellness, West2Wellness, and of course the dōTERRA oils, tell us a little bit about John there. So John is 10 months old.
Yeah, 10 months old, and he's the last addition to our household.
Oh, and he's a little smiler as well. Yes. Yes, so the last. And how many kids do you guys actually have?
We have 6 altogether.
6 children, and you work together, and predominantly, well, at this time you work from home as well, and you're all smiling. That is proof the oils work. That is proof that dōTERRA oils work. Well, you're very welcome, and we were just talking there before the interview. I turned on the camera. We were talking about the first time that we met. So just for those of you listening at home, Mike and Sinead invited me up to their beautiful home, and Sinead offered me aroma touch technique. And we might actually just start with that, if that's okay, Sinead, because it actually left such an impression on me. And I think I said to you that day, but you mightn't remember, it's the first time that I'd fallen asleep on a massage bed. And I've had so many different types of massage. It was so, and I remember at the time, I think I was going through a phase where I wasn't really sleeping. You know, the way we kind of, our sleep can get a bit like disrupted. So to actually go up and meet 2 strangers, and all the kids were around as well, not while I was having the massage, and to go off and to actually receive that technique and to fall asleep. I mean, I drove back down to Limerick, and I was on a high. It was amazing. So tell us a little bit about what the aroma touch technique is.
So the aroma touch technique, when we do it, we work on the back, the feet, and the head. It's designed to use 8 specific oils to work on bring kind of relaxing and calming the body, then on your immunity, on pain and inflammation, and bringing the body back to balance. So it takes about 45 minutes, and you can experience kind of different reactions from it. You can have a physical reaction or an emotional reaction, or you could have both. But it's really enjoyable treatment to receive and to actually give as well.
Oh, it's beautiful. But I think it's the combination of the oils and how the oils are actually working. And I guess when you're receiving it, you're not thinking too much. You just kind of like surrender to it and allow it to happen. But also just to mention, Sinead was 9 months pregnant with John at the time. And there I was sleeping on the table. It's a funny kind of a funny memory to have. And you were like, you know, like anyone who's just about to give birth, like you were quite large, you know, so, and it was summertime and the heat, and so it was amazing. And that is something I am assuming now that things are starting to open up again. That is something that you do teach people. I believe you actually help people with that, but you also obviously would give it as well to people. But anyway, we're going to talk a little bit about all the different types of supports and education that West2Wellness deliver. But let's start again at the beginning. Now, I know that you told your story a little bit when you came onto the Wellness Lounge at the beginning, but let's go back a little bit. So it was how many years ago? And again, Mike, I guess it was your experience of feeling unwell as such, or not your best self, or unhappy or dissatisfied, that really prompted you into looking for a solution, whether you were aware of it or not. Tell us a little bit about that time.
Yeah, so we actually know exactly what date it started. It was the 22nd of December 2016 was when we decided to join dōTERRA. And really, when we go back and we really think about wellness, I didn't even know what wellness was since the day I grew up. And I think I'm not saying that's the same for all men, but it was definitely the way we was brought up. I mean, I was always brought up with that. Don't get educated. Go and get a job. 20 hours a week, work hard, get paid, and do that until you die, and you'll be successful.
Yeah.
And I think that's how men, well, when I grew up, was taught, especially if your father was a builder or working in the building industry. And that's how it was. And so I didn't care about my body, didn't care about being happy, being grateful for anything. I just got up, went to work. And basically over the years, from the age of 20, I had my first pub. I actually got a pub when I was 20. And not that I'm a drinker. I actually don't drink. And I don't drink at all now, but I never really drank. But I grew up in that atmosphere where I was working long hours, working in difficult situations, really unhealthy living sort of thing. And I ballooned to like 20 stone in weight at 20 years of age. And that's where I've been all the way to 44. But my work sort of changed, and I became more into maintenance work and building work. And eventually what happened was I was working nights, I was working days, and eventually what I just mentioned there is what happened. I basically I got to a stage where I collapsed on the floor, went to the hospital, and I found I had problems with my heart, and we needed to have treatment. So we went on this journey of trying to get my heart fixed. So I had 7 cardioversions, 3 pulmonary vein insertions, and through them experiences, I was learning a little bit about, okay, then this is the end of my life. That's what I was thinking was happening. Also learning that I was told to do a lot of things, like to lose weight, just eat cabbage, just food. There was so many little basics. The basic understanding of wellness wasn't really included in that journey, in that instruction from what I was receiving at the time. I was actually getting sicker, even though my heart got fixed. I actually felt so unwell.
Okay.
And that's where it came to dōTERRA. And
well, before you jump into dōTERRA there, I'd love to pop over to Sinead, because, you know, you're talking about there, you had a pub, and that's news to me. So I never knew that. Like, I mean, there's a book in that, like, from, you know, pub to essential oils, you know, that's a journey in itself, you know. And, you know, there you were at 20, and then at 44, your health really, your body was starting to give up. But where along the way, Sinead, did you actually meet Mike? And, you know, what was your experience of Mike's health at an earlier stage of his life? And how did you fit into that?
So we are together 15 years.
Okay.
And when I first met him, he wasn't, I don't think you were that overweight.
No, but I did come a size, you don't look overweight.
No,
that's the thing.
But as the years kind of progressed, and as the work that you were doing got more intense, you started to put on a little bit more weight. When you were sick, when you were really, really sick, it was really hard. Like he couldn't walk up the stairs without, you know, nearly passing out.
Yeah.
And it kind of, I don't know, it really kind of hit home that, you know, this was really serious.
Yeah.
Anyway, and of course we had Adele at the time, so she was only a few months old, so it was it was hard trying to look after him, trying to work out his medication, trying to make sure that he's eating the right food, and trying to look after Adele as well. And I was working. I was working in a hotel at the time, so that was quite intense work too. So yeah, it was. So
like it was a stressful time for the family, because you were kind of in that kind of flight or fight mode, like reacting. And, you know, again, I think you kind of spoke about your journey in this as well, Sinead, and you know, even how oils have helped your you know, own kind of ailments through the years, and the family and the kids and all that. But up to a point, you didn't really have any knowledge of, you know, complementary tools, or, you know, essential oils, or anything outside of, like, you would have just depended on the medical, I suppose, solution, which again is a very viable solution. But it wasn't like that you came from families that dipped into complementary health or anything. You didn't really have any knowledge before. No.
We had absolutely no knowledge at all.
And that's something that we obviously brought that up there, medical health, is that we are so grateful for the medical professions, in all that they've done in our life, and especially over the last few months through COVID. They put so much to their lives and help us, and they don't really get the rewards
or the time,
or the money that they should deserve. But yeah, it's like that. We knew nothing about natural health, and we knew nothing that it was like when you think about it, and we go through school, we need to be educated to say that it's our responsibility to look after our own selves. It's like a give me, isn't it? Yeah. But unless you're taught that, unless you're actually told that, look, there's a few things that you can do, and I think that's where we miss out in this life, at the culture that we live in at the moment, that we need to educate our children how important wellness is. And we all know wellness is not just what you eat. It's more. And I think what dōTERRA brings to us was that wellness of eating correctly, exercising, managing your stress and your worries, and getting a good sleep, and removing chemicals from your home, removing all these things from your home. And as you do that, include your children, and it's amazing.
Absolutely. I think what you have done in your family unit has been the biggest gift for your kids and your family. And, you know, it's like what we're all trying to do. We're trying to break generational habits and limiting beliefs and all those things, and not to blame people that have gone before us, because it's been circumstances. We have more access to education now with the internet as well. So, you know, our parents, you know, were brought up at a different time. And I think a lot of people can identify with those beliefs that you held, Mike, which, you know, again, providing for a family, get out and work hard. If you want to be successful, you need to work hard. And definitely, I would have held some of those beliefs myself. You know, being successful meant working hard. Working hard meant really working hard until my body started to actually have a physical reaction, which is what happened to me. It triggered an autoimmune condition because of chronic stress. So the 22nd of December 2016 is when you signed up to dōTERRA. But who actually introduced a man who used to run a pub, who comes from a strong, sounds like a working background, and, you know, again, the job that you were doing, you mentioned it to me before, it was kind of like, wasn't it roofing, and it was very physical labor. Like,
yeah, so we used to, so think of this, we used to, so we used to look after Supermacs, McDonald's, all the hotels around Ireland where you're cooking your food, and all that grease and that smoke is being taken out the exhaust system. We used to go crawl inside that and clean that.
Ooh,
so I used to drive around in a van, smelling of grease, working 20 hours a day, breakdowns, all that. Because if they shut down, they can't cook because of the smoke and the fumes. So, and that's how we started. And we started our dōTERRA business, and it wasn't started as a business, but we started even as we was doing that. And so how we began, and I want to put this point across for whoever. So when you think about dōTERRA, it's not a business. The people who share dōTERRA to you, people who really care, because we've seen, and I will say it, we've seen miracles. We've seen amazing things happen. Like, I know I wouldn't be here today without dōTERRA in my life. So I know what it's brought to me, to my wife, to my family. And it's like that. And what it was a friend of mine and this is a funny thing. It's a friend of mine who knew me for 4 years, who was afraid to share the oils to me because he didn't want to think he was selling me oil.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And it was just a fact that I actually, so when you think about my wellness, I cut in a few things. I actually had like 35 things wrong with me. Not a few things, I had a lot. And so at the time he saw me, I had cotton wool in my ear, and I've got 2 perforated eardrums from playing rugby. And in that, every time it gets cold or it's wet or I fly, I get earache. I get ear infections. And I was at the time on 3 months or 3 weeks of antibiotics, and I had cotton wool in both ears. And he just said, Michael, what's wrong with your ears? And I shared my experience. And he goes, I've got some oil here, just try it. And he gave me a drop of Melaleuca, and I just put it in my hand. And he told me to rub it up behind your ears, down a channel externally, and on your reflex points. And I'm like, what's he going on about, reflex points? And he goes, on your reflex points. So I just went, yeah. So it looks like I knew what I was doing. And within 3 or 4 minutes, my earache had gone. And I was like, that's really cool. That's actually worked. I mean,
Wow.
surprised. And we sat down, and he goes, I just want to share a little bit more about these oils, because they're special. And then he gave me an oil called On Guard.
Mm-hmm.
And I smelt that, and it made me smile.
Mm.
And that's when I knew that was something different, because when did I smile, Sinead?
Never. It was torture trying to get him to smile for our wedding day photos.
Oh, really?
It wasn't part of my life. Smiling wasn't part of my life. I didn't need it in my life. It doesn't. Don't get me wrong. I sort of, well, I thought I was happy, but I wasn't. But smiling wasn't a part of my life. But once I started actually smiling that first time, I went, these are special. These are different. And it brought back memories that I never even could imagine. And that was it. And we said, okay, then I want to get some of these. And that's it. So we started.
And so before you started, again, just to explain to people, because dōTERRA is still fairly new. People are hearing about it as such, but it's fairly new. So is it an Australian company? It started in Australia, or am I wrong? Tell us a little bit about dōTERRA.
So it started 10 years ago in America. And
in America, okay.
There's 7 founder members who are part of this amazing business. It's they agree with everything. They agree it's all about helping people. And what they did, they got, and we all know that that modern medication has its place. We also know that holistic medication also has its place, and holistic healing. And so what dōTERRA did, they got doctors and they got holistic people, and they put them together and said, let's create some magic. Because there's place for both of them. We're not saying oils are better than medication. We're not saying, and we never say that. But what we can say is that try these first, go the natural approach first. If you feel comfortable, try this natural approach. If you feel that benefit, then what have you lost? If you don't feel the benefit, okay, then let's take the next step. Let's try all the avenues first before we need to go to the more serious, the more higher medications that sometimes we don't need. We all know that modern medication does have side effects. Some known, some unknown. And when I go through this now, you think all the medication and all the hospitals and pharmaceuticals and that's around this world, there's so many more people seem to be sick. There seem to be so many more illnesses. There's so many more difficulties in life with depression and stress and people just giving up on life. And it's like, is it something to do with what we've been taught? Is it something to do with what we're eating? Is it something to do with the things that we've been prescribed? And there is research out there to show that it is. So dōTERRA started 11 years ago now. it's just growing. It's a fast growing company. Their ethics, and what's very important is that their ethics align with ours. It's about caring, about loving, about giving. It's about breathing and your heart beating to the same rhythm as someone who really genuinely wants to care. And that's where our sort of like dōTERRA became part of our life, because we was this couple who was working all their hours, thinking what we was doing was the best for ourselves to make ourselves successful, thinking about we're providing for our children to put a roof over their head and give them nice toys and nice cars to drive around in and go on trips. But truthfully, what really counts is spending time with them and being loving with them and giving them love and comfort and being present in their lives. dōTERRA brings that to us in that way, even through a bottle.
Yeah.
The oils are always there, ready to give you that uplifting feeling, that bit of comfort when you just open the lid. And they run the whole business like that. It aligns with us so well now, and that's what we're here for.
When I was first introduced, actually, it's funny, October 2016 was the first time I heard about dōTERRA. And I was actually going for a job interview. I had taken some time out of work. So this was a lady who became a friend afterwards, was looking for someone to do part-time work. And I went into the room and the smell was absolutely beautiful. I found out afterwards it was bergamot. So she was diffusing. I'd heard of diffusers. I never had a diffuser. I grew up with a mother who used to burn essential oils. I had the little burner, and a mom who would put lavender in our pillow sometimes if we were a bit stressed or finding, problems sleeping. So I wasn't completely oblivious to essential oils. My eldest sister, I remember around the time my mother died, my eldest sister had gone to the health food shop and she was buying all the different oils. She had a bit of an awareness around it. But the day I smelt an oil diffusing and bergamot was a game changer for me, because it just seemed to be smooth and opening and just so comforting. Whereas sometimes I find other essential oils, just for me personally, and it might be the diffuser does this obviously, a little bit harsh. I find that the dōTERRA, so like I have a whole load of them here beside me, and it's great working from home now because I have them on my desk, so it's kind of like access to them.
Gillian, is that there's a difference between dōTERRA oils and other oils you can see in the market.
Yeah.
There is no regulations in the whole world for essential oils.
Yeah.
There's no regulations. And if you think of, say, a UK market where if you say you're giving 100% of lavender in a bottle, illegally you only have to have 3% of that as a pure lavender. So everything else is synthetic or made up or dishwasher water, we don't know.
Yeah.
With dōTERRA, they guarantee 100% pure essential oil. That's why we're the #1 essential oil company in the world. And that's why we can go onto a website and you can put in the batch number on each bottle, and you'll actually find the test results.
Yeah. Yeah, they're very transparent, and I was even going to ask you, isn't it with their ingredients that they kind of go to the country that has like the lavender in France, and the wild orange is a beautiful oil. One of the oils I started using a starter, putting it into water, which is another new concept for people who were horrified hearing that people were ingesting essential oils. But tell us kind of why it's okay to ingest some of the essential oils.
So the oils come, like you say, the oils come from their natural habitat. dōTERRA's motto is to change the world. That's their business memorandum. It's to change the world. So we don't just go into countries like Somalia where we get frankincense and go, we're going to put a big fence around this farm. This is what we want, and we're going to get the best value. We're going to knock everybody down because, like big corporations normally would do. We go into these countries, we get rid of all the middlemen, all the traders, and go directly to the farmers. And we help the farmers. So what do they need first? Because it's like everything else. If the farmer's happy,
Yeah.
Frankincense is going to be happy. And you might laugh. I actually worked on a chicken farm years ago, and I used to play music to the chickens. And we used to have, we actually became, it was a big producer of a chicken farm now, and it was actually, it was the third biggest, we become third in Europe with the most eggs laid. And
okay.
Down to the music. That's what we put it to, is because the chickens were happy. It's like if everyone's happy, we get more productivity, and that's like we know that. And so we go and speak to these farmers. We make them happy. We find out what they need. Whether they need schools, water treatment places, do they need jobs, do they need medical centres, So, and then once we get that sorted, what they need, we put them on long-term contracts. We teach them how to get better,
to get the best out of their
product. If they don't, if the products aren't good enough, we don't crop them, but we still pay them. There's so much of a good thing to do about when you're using dōTERRA, is that even though oil's changing your life, it's changing someone else's life somewhere around the world as well. And because these oils are so pure, we can take them internally. And I understand you'll have people who've trained in aromatherapy, and they'll say, you can't digest oils. Totally. Someone talk about aromatherapy and someone talk about dōTERRA is two different things. We're not trying to say, we know about aromatherapy. We're not. We're talking about dōTERRA, in specific dōTERRA, not aromatherapy. So I can understand why people say don't take them internally, because that's what they've been taught. But because we know how pure these are, we know that, Sinead, you used them all the way through pregnancy.
All the way through pregnancy, and even during labour as well,
Even through labour. The first thing that we did on John when he was born was a drop of frankincense. And what did we do? We gave it to relax him, to calm him down, to work on a cellular basis. So it just helped him in an all-over body experience. And that one drop was enough. And so we used them internally in a safe way because they're helping us clean our body. They're a natural product. There's no synthetics. And that's
And I guess the key is there for people to come to you, you educate people around what's in the oils, and you talk about, how they do differentiate from different, so it's not like you can't kind of, dōTERRA is its own brand, so therefore there's their own ingredients and there's their own values as a company and all that as well. So it's pointless kind of comparing it to the standard kind of essential oil, which, some people really like. There's loads of different oils out there again. But, again, it's like anything out there. And, we've said this in the page before, you'll gravitate towards things that really, evoke some kind of a positive emotion in you. And that day I walked in to that interview and I said, what's that smell? Something happened for me, and, finding out what it was afterwards, and really kind of, and the lady, Tara Lee, who I think she found out about them a few years before in Australia, so that's probably why I got confused with Australia. And she would add them into ingredients like you were doing the day with the smoothie as well, Sinead, adding little bits in, so actually how it enhances your food as well, and also balancing out emotions, because really I think the oils kind of hit across a lot of the pillars of wellness, your mental, physical, emotional and spiritual. So they're quite unique that way, but also the story behind each oil I think is quite unique as well, because every kind of oil kind of talks about what it can do mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. So it's really like an experience when you're actually taking the oils or using the oils as well. And another story, actually, that day I was up there, your little boy, is it Michael, your little boy? Yeah. And he grazed his knee, and he come running over to you, Mike, looking for, what oil would he look for if he was?
Frankincense.
Yeah, I didn't know what he was saying, and you were like, do you know what he's asking for? And I said no, and he's like, he's asking for like daddy frankincense on the knee. And then it registered, because you don't expect a little kind of boy to be saying frankincense, so like I just didn't make it out, but like wanting to come over because he grazed his knee, and once you put it on and you gave him a little cuddle, he was all happy again. So
when you think that frankincense, it has it's great for skin. It's great for help rejuvenate skin cells, and it's great for calming down. And yet, a 3-year-old or 2-year-old at the time, he knew that, and that's what we're teaching our children. Our daughter the other day, who is 5, she come into the room. She's got a stomach ache. She goes, "Dad, I got a stomach ache. I need the blue oil." And I went, "Okay, then go and get the blue oil." So she went and got the blue oil, put 2 drops in her hand, rubbed it on her belly, come back in, and she goes, "I'm going outside." She ran outside. 5 minutes later, she runs back in. She goes, "The oils are working. Upstairs toilet."
Wow.
Like, you couldn't send a 5-year-old to the medicine cabinet 3 years ago. We couldn't.
Yeah, of
so
course.
many things in there that we probably shouldn't have in our home, and I think that's and that's what's so really amazing about them. And I'm just going to come back to something you said as well about education.
Yeah.
dōTERRA is all about education. We're not here to sell oils, even though we used to sell oils as a business. It's not about selling. Our main vision is to help people and to educate people how these oils and how looking after yourself, more importantly, can make a difference in your life. And then you think about why dōTERRA, and sometimes you look at dōTERRA and it's a network marketing business, and people shy away from that. And they go, "Oh, it's a pyramid scheme." What? dōTERRA, and the reason, and this is the simple reason, is because we need to educate everybody. This is what we need. We need to continuously have these classes. We need to continuously support you and guide you and support in everything that you do with these oils, because there's so much to learn. There's so much to know. It's like, it just brings everybody together. We bring communities together by sharing oils. And like I say, we live in a small little town, a small little village, Ardran. And yet we've reached communities all over this world with oils. It hasn't been, and we've changed so many families' lives, like thousands and thousands of people's lives. And that was done through continuously supporting people and educating people and letting them understand that it's not a quick sell scheme. We're not here to sell you an oil and never see you again. We're here to make sure you get the best experience out of it, how we can help you create your wellness. And if that's including people like we've seen in the Wellness Lounge, it's like supporting people and going, "Look, okay, you're struggling with sleep, maybe some meditation. Let's go and talk to someone who'll help you with meditation."
Sure.
Meditation and some oil will help you.
Yeah.
So it's, and that's what we're sharing. Is that, so getting up early in the morning, being grateful for what you have, doing some exercise, having some meditation, using some oil will help you have a better night's sleep. It's not just about taking oil and everything's perfect. It's about coming on this journey with us, and we're here to learn as well as teach. Yeah.
And I suppose as well, just to be clear for people at home, that people can contact you and you'll go through obviously how people access the oils, which would be like a sign up for, and I'm going to say a nominal fee, because it is a nominal fee. It's not, doesn't cost a lot of money at all to register with dōTERRA, but obviously they need to register through, what would you call yourself, like an advocate? An advocate.
So a wellness advocate, and it does matter, and I'll put it out, it does matter who you become a member with, because the simple reason is that not everybody does this as a business. And I'm not saying it as a business in a way we're all here to make money, as in someone who really is going to take care and be invested in your health. You have to be invested in your health, and we want to match that. So if you become a member with Tom next door, who is using the oils for himself to help him go through his digestive issues, that's great. If you become a member with him, you might not learn much, but we are fully invested here to help families find happiness and freedom in their lives, to find wellness and education in the home, and we can help you achieve all this. And so when you become a member with us, you get a lot more than just an oil. You get and
you know, because of that kind of community that you've built, and a lot of that community have come on the page as well. And like what you said, it could be people who provide different services like mindfulness or coaching, and so you've kind of educated them how the oils can benefit their clients as well, you know. And again, it's all about complementing the different modalities and supporting the different things as well. But when people become a member, just so people are clear, because I was saying this before, some people feel that then they have to sell. They don't. They can just enjoy the oils, be educated about the oils, contact you for information, go to your workshops. You're providing workshops online. Before you did online and offline. Yeah. So yeah. So you have a far reach, obviously, online. And I suppose a lot of the work that you've been doing on the Wellness Lounge is similar to what you continue to do with educating people across the world with the benefits of the oils. Sorry, Mike, were you going to say something?
No, it's just that education. We do the online classes. We are qualified aroma touch trainers as well.
Yes, yeah.
So if anybody wants to learn about the aroma touch and the benefits of having that in our homes is amazing. How often do we use that with our children?
Every night.
Yeah. And we had that fabulous video of the two girls, weren't they doing something like that? I think that got one of the highest views, like in the Wellness Lounge, because listening to the two of them, Heidi and Adele, yeah. Oh, that was like, oh my God, that was an amazing video to watch. If anybody wants to go back to the unit section, an older sister massaging the younger sister, but like Heidi knowing exactly what she wanted as well and what she needed, and just loving it because it's so relaxing. It's just absolute pleasure, you know. So again, I think it's proof that, you know, really wellness is to the core of your family, you know, and you're educating everybody, and they're educating you as well.
Yeah,
exactly. And you think about that, it's not just about the oils there, it's about the touch, it's about that loving and caring for someone else as well, and handing it down. And so now you'll see Heidi massaging Michael, and it's like it's part of the family ritual that we all massage each other, and people come to our homes and they go, seriously, can we have one? And you end up giving everybody just massages, and it's just like, it just brings happiness. That's the most crucial thing about wellness and life. It's bringing joy, happiness, and peace to people's hearts. And if we've got that in our lives, what are we here for? And that's what we found out, isn't it, on our journey?
So you're very grateful then to have found the oils, and this made this kind of path into educating and supporting other people on their journey. But would you say predominantly your work was kind of always online? So were you that impacted by the shutdown and such?
I think COVID was a blessing to us.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Because we wasn't brave enough. Because, like I say, I used to work in a van. Sinead used to work behind the phone. And now we became more confident in what we can do and help people. Because what happened now is we had a network of people all over this world, and we couldn't travel to them. And I got into a stage where I went back into that old mindset, work long hours to make a successful business. So I started traveling. When I was traveling,
you were gone nearly 6 out of 7 days.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was going back into them old habits, and COVID. And obviously, I'm not going to say it was a positive in anybody's life, but taking what we got out of it. And I think what was most important, if you was blessed to be home with your family, it was a blessing for everybody because we got to spend more time with our family, which was great. But what was is that now we're comfortable about doing it online now. We don't have to leave our home, and people can reach to us anytime now, which is great.
So people can reach you. Your website is west2wellness.com, Facebook West2Wellness. Mike and Sinead Casserlys. You are back in the Wellness Lounge on Wednesday evening. I've really loved that none of your workshops or posts have been the same. So you've really looked at different areas, but also, you know, you've really shared, you know, the different areas of wellness. You talk about nutrition, you talk about your own, how you get your mindset in the right kind of place every day, Mike, as well. And I suppose talking about balancing a family and work as well, you know, even with little John there as well, you know, grooming him to take over in a few years. He's on all the business calls. So your plans next are just reaching out to people, educating people. You mentioned something, you have workshops on a Tuesday night, John, do you hear me? I'm already calling John. Mike.
So we have so we have masterclass every Tuesday night and Tuesday day, 12:30 in the day and 9:30 at night. And then we have, and then if you are interested to learn about the business side or sharing the oils, 12:30 and 9:30 on the Wednesday.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's it. But we're open to talk to everyone on a private basis as well, if that's what people need as well, because sometimes it can be a sensitive matter, and it could be anything. And when we always say to people, if you're struggling, whether it's with your health, whether it's time management, or whether it's just your finances, dōTERRA be part of that. It can help change that.
Oh.
You are in your life journey, it can help.
Absolutely.
There's no pressure. There was never any pressure.
Well, look, I think with John getting ready for some feeding there, I just want to say thank you all, and thanks to all the family, because really the family have been part of the Wellness Lounge, and that was something that was a lovely surprise, seeing the kids getting involved, and showing us kind of insights into your home, not forgetting that I'm sure there was homeschooling going on, and there was a lot going on as well before you came on the cameras smiling, and so thank you for sharing your knowledge, for being a part of the experience. For anyone watching out there, west2wellness.com. Mike and Sinead will be back on Wednesday evening, but you can also follow on their Facebook page for any upcoming events, or if you want to know more about those workshops as well. That's West2Wellness. Thank you both. And Sinead, I look forward to an aroma touch again in the future.
Delighted to have you back.
Thanks a million to you both.
And thank you for having us.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
Yeah.